With over 17,000 locations across the globe, Starbucks has come a long way from its humble beginnings as a single store in Seattle, Washington. In addition to the success of their expansion, Starbucks has always maintained a mission of ethically sourcing the finest coffee beans, roasting them with care, and improving the lives of the people who grow them. It is safe to say that Starbucks has become the standard by which all other coffee shops are measured. Of course, the term standard has a very specific meaning when discussing managerial accounting. Standard costs are predetermined costs that contribute to management planning and control, and are distinguished from budgeting in that a standard is a unit amount, while a budget is a total amount. The standard cost of direct materials used to make a cup of coffee might be $1, for example, so if a Starbucks produces 2,000 cups of dark roast coffee, their budgeted material cost would be $2,000. There are many advantages to setting standard costs, including facilitating management planning, promoting greater economy, setting selling prices, providing a basis for evaluation of cost control, highlighting variances, and simplifying costing of inventories. Let's look at how standards at Starbucks provide a basis for evaluating cost control.
We use standards. Specifically, my team uses standards for budgeting. We set a new standard each year for coffee we purchase from farms throughout the world. And then we also use the standards to find ways to be more efficient in coffee production. It's more complex than just buying a coffee and roasting it.
Starbucks can evaluate cost control through variances, which are the differences between total actual costs and total standard costs. The setting of standard costs can be a difficult task, requiring input from all persons who have responsibilities for costs and quantities, and they reflect a wide array of considerations.
Freight expenses, packaging costs, labor and overhead, what areas of the country we buy from, where's the most efficient place to ship, seasonality of coffees, how much inventory we carry at any given time. Everything goes into the final standard cost of our coffee.
They also need to be current at all times, so standard costs are constantly under review. Many companies set standards at one of two levels, ideal or normal. Ideal standards represent optimum levels of performance under perfect operating conditions. Very few companies use ideal standards because they are not attainable and may lower the morale of the entire workforce because they are too difficult. Normal standards represent efficient levels of performance that are attainable under expected operating conditions. Starbucks, like most companies, sets normal standards just enough to keep costs low and motivate teams. Like many companies, they allow for rest periods, machine breakdowns, and even the weather.
There was huge storms in Costa Rica months ago, which affected the crop, and so they're charging an extra premium on getting that coffee into our roasting plants. Sometimes we'll see prices come in lower because crops are plentiful. Weather just turned to work. It just happened to work out. The crops came out strong.
But securing coffee beans is only half the battle for setting standards.
The other half of my team then tracks that inventory, the coffee inventory as it's being roasted at the roasting plants, and from the raw material to the finished good state.
Dane's team set standards to test the performance of Starbucks' different internal teams. Then they watch closely for labor variances. After all, getting coffee beans at a good price doesn't mean much if half of them wind up on the roaster's floor.
How efficient is our roasting plants in producing coffee from a green bean to a finished roasted packaged coffee? If we say we will use a certain amount of coffee to produce 100 pounds of finished product, and we actually are using a little bit less than that, then you could say our variance is favorable and everybody's happy.
Dane's team plays a crucial role in more ways than one. Sometimes, from their big picture perspective, they're able to spot variances that line managers cannot see.
Especially on the manufacturing side. There's probably parts of it that we don't completely see, but when it comes down to the core product that we produce, we have visibility within every aspect of it.
Of course, it could be really demotivating to Starbucks teams if all they ever heard about was high standards and how they're not living up to them. That's why Starbucks doesn't focus on blame and punishment. Rather, it gives rewards for those that achieve the high standards it sets.
Many times, for a roasting plant, for example, their goals and their bonuses are based on how well they're doing on usage variance. Are they creating savings through the process?
All of this tracking and correction is crucial for Starbucks to stay profitable in an era when commodity costs like coffee beans are rising. Recently, Starbucks rebounded from annual losses by initiating cost controls and locking in coffee prices for a year of expected increases by purchasing commodities options, contracts to buy coffee in the future at fixed prices. They not only beat industry analysts' predictions for profitability, but they were able to avoid raising their prices to customers in the process.
Within cost accounting, that's the thing I enjoy the most, is talking to each group, working through variances, understanding the different projects that people are working on, rather than just crunching numbers, and how much pride different groups take in what they do. It's nice.